Hey everyone, it's Will Taylor, and thanks for tuning in. I want to share as best I can, I want to share my story with pivoting because of this global crisis, or how we have pivoted, my family, and how, in a way, how lucky I feel in terms of having done the prep work even before this was even known. And I, I want to give you an example. I have a musician friend who is just not doing anything right now. His livelihood is completely dependent on having gigs, and he's doing nothing right now, as far as I know. And I've checked with him several times. His livelihood is playing gigs and weddings and parties and clubs, and he's an incredibly talented musician. So I want to share this. If it comes across, I hope it doesn't come across preachy, and I just want to say this with as much sensitivity that if you are not in a place where you may be as lucky as my family has been, then my heart goes out to you. But I'm hoping that some of this may help you. So as far back as 2005, the way that I made a living was very dependent on being in association with a radio station. KUT, KGSR, KMFA were very integral to me getting the word out for the concerts I did so that I could have really large audiences. So the basic theme of this is the more independent you can be. And now I understand that that is virtually impossible, but the more independent, when I say independent, that means have a unit of independence that is just either yourself or your family or the people that are in your pod. The more that you can do that, and it doesn't require you to have, like if you're a musician, a large band or whatever, the more that you can do just by yourself, the more successful you're going to be. So I already started making that move because in 2008, those radio stations completely turned their back on me, and I was angry and mad about it, to form a new model which was much smaller and more efficient, didn't have a high overhead. So I'm trying to be really short with the story. I don't want to go on and on. But, and then over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, I even got even more efficient and more minimalist in what I do. And Karen and I already believe in living as simply as we can. We've thrown away things. We live in a house with 2 rooms. We were already very critical or very aware of how much time we spent driving around in the car and how much money gas costs. And we had dreams of being able to do our concerts within walking distance. So I started Strings in the Woods, and that became very, it was not lucrative, but it was providing enough money for me to live on, and doing concerts in the park where I could walk, literally 5-minute commute. Well, that completely got pulled out from under me. I can't do Strings in the Woods. I can't take people out on tours anymore. But again, the groundwork of living a very simple life, eating very healthy foods, throwing away as much crap as possible, getting down to the basics of what does it really take to live a simple life? What do we really need in life to be happy, to be fulfilled? Do we need all this stuff? Do we need to be driving and flying around all over the world? And we started watching Prairie Home Companion, Little House on the Prairie, with our daughter, and the simplicity of that life around that time. Well, for us, we're very lucky. We live on a small piece of land. We're renters, and so staying here at home has been amazing. We've been reconnecting with our family, we've reconnected with our child, not driving all over the place. I've been saving huge amounts of money, not paying for gas, and just living simply, eating simply, maybe not eating as much, but keeping really healthy and connecting with nature. And so that what I'm trying to say is that initial rebooting of our lives led right into this pandemic situation. So going even deeper with that isn't a problem so far, okay? Now, granted, there are still things that we depend on. We depend on electricity. We depend on others' donations and people that value what I do musically, and so people still have to be buying our goods somehow. But we're in we're in a really good position. I'm very grateful for that, to go deeper. You know, we've invented an online show. We're doing a show once a week. And I've spent 20, 25 years, almost 3 decades, building a fan base, a community, a tribe of people that want to be stitched together with our music. And so that is already ready to go. So it's not easy for somebody that's a musician, like my friend bass player, he's dependent on the bands that have those communities already established. So for me to say, okay, you should just start a community, I know that's not easy. But going forward, I have a hunch that these kinds of things are going to work over the next 2 years. People are still going to need to listen to music. People are still going to want to be online and feeling connected, even though it's through an online portal, and they're still going to want to spend money on that for that connection. I believe that's going to be consistent over the next 5 years. They may not be able to spend as much money, but they are. And so I've seen that through my live show that I'm doing with Karen every week. And I have almost replace my strings in the woods income. So what I'm telling you and what I'm sharing with you is what I really believe and what I'm seeing with the data. And I'm very glad. I mean, it was so much work to put this community together, and so much unpaid work for many, 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 many years. But this community of 5,000 to 6,000 people that I've built, one person at a time, is now there and still wanting to support what I do. So whatever you can do, number one, my first goal is whatever you can do to network and continue to build whatever community you have. If you see yourself getting off the couch and maybe doing something like I'm doing, which is a live show and creating content that people can connect with on a weekly basis, that is totally doable. It's going to take a lot of work. It's not going to pay back initially, so I want to warn you about that. But for your pivot, wherever you are, anything that gets you on a computer with computer skills, video editing, talking on a camera like I am there, learning these skills, any of these skills are going to be highly usable and in the next 2 years onward. Okay, anything that can make you independent. So video editing, internet marketing, funnel building, tribe building, communicating on a camera like I am right now, being positive, getting people to come together, all of these things, you can be spending your time, get your unemployment check, spend your time building these skills. Now, it's not going to be overnight. But if you want to see yourself in the next 5, 6 months to a year getting to the point where sort of similar to what I have, in other words, having a tribe, you got to do the work. You got to start. And I truly believe people are going to want this, and there's going to be a huge need for more people doing what I'm doing. So releasing your music, it's working for me. Yes, and please, if you're watching this, put your questions below. I'm going on a little bit longer than I normally would, but I want this to be as thorough as possible, and I really want this to get out there to creatives and how you can save your time. Now, I want to mention I am making a guide to streaming that is going to be available for like a membership kind of thing. I am about 1/3 the way through, and so I can save you some time by, when that's ready, I'll share that with you. So, be sure to comment below or get on my email list, which is stringsattachedmusic.net. If you're not already on it, stringsattachedmusic.net, because I'll be announcing where you can get that. It's kind of low priority because I'm putting all my energy on what is working. And what is working is doing the live show. But the success of the live show is because I've spent 3 decades building a community with all the musicians that I'm so thankful for. They've helped me. All the musicians I've collaborated with, from Liza Gilkison to Slade Cleaves to John Pointer, the list goes on and on. And I'm bringing a lot of that music on board for my community. Hey, Karen. To enjoy, to bring people together. So if you have any questions, as I'm talking, I'm trying to be as thorough as possible. But it's basically about, you need to have a list. That is a nice dollhouse, isn't it? You need to have your community being captured into an email list. Bottom line, email is not dead. Email is very alive. That is how I drive people to my shows. And that's how I get them to come 30 minutes before the show. I send out an email and they show up. So not only am I getting the organic reach on Facebook, people just discovering it organically, but people that are already in my tribe are being reminded, and they are getting in the habit of coming every week and donating and asking questions and coming to our Zoom after party. So it's all about traditional marketing, traditional internet marketing, or even traditional marketing is like, how can you provide as much value to your community? Think about that as many different ways as possible. A lot of people are coming on this broadcast. So ask me questions here. The more ways that you can think about that and connecting your people on this digital platform, the more that you can monetize that, the more that you can get people to support you. And if you tell them, I'm going the extra mile for you, if you help support me, I can keep going the extra mile for you. And tell them the ways that you're doing that. You're spending time curating your show, you're rehearsing, you're putting it together, you're showing them in videos and pictures what you're doing. And if you put that out there on a regular basis, they will love you, they will like you, they will think they know you, and they will buy from you. This is all traditional marketing, and I'm telling you that it works, guys, and it's exciting and it works. This is a great opportunity. But with that caveat, like I'm saying, don't expect that it's going to happen. You can start doing all this work, and it could take months, it could take a year for you to get to the point where I am, but you got to build that list. So every creative way that you can think about bringing people onto your list, I call it the ethical bribe. There's courses out there you can buy. Remember, use this time for education. So I'm going to tell you right now, the best course right now that I have been subscribing to for 4 years is Leah McHenry's The Online Musician, or the Savvy Music Academy. Go there, take that course. It's all in there. I'm doing a 3-week mastermind right now. I'm reviewing the concepts. I'm using them. They are working. So I really believe that as long as our basic essential services stay happening, in other words, water, electricity, internet, that we will be able to do this and do well during the next year and a half, 2 years. I really believe that. Of course, my mind is also thinking, well, what if we're just living like Vikings again? What am I going to do in that case? What skill would I have? I don't know how to build a house. I don't know. So when my mind starts thinking ahead to that, when everything collapses and we're in a depression, I'll pivot then. I'll work for the next civilian conservation corps. Who knows? Get out there and doing backbreaking work. Then that's what I'll have to do. But right now, this is what's working. Try building, build that list. Don't just go do it without any guidance. Take the course, Leah McHenry. Look it up right now. I wish I could get an affiliate payback for this, but I'm just giving it to you. It's Leah McHenry, the Savvy Musician. And any questions you can put below. I know there's a few people still watching right now. Let me think, what else? Don't just sit around and think there's nothing you can do. You can, and I say that, I don't want to be preachy with that. I'm sorry. You may just be in survival mode and trying to figure out where to get food from next. So let's say you have food and you've saved for this time and you're not in survival mode. Okay. Let's say that's you. Okay. Then, yeah, there's lots of things you can do to pivot, and it may take 6 months to a year, and I'm repeating myself because I'm trying to think of other things to say. I'm really grateful that all the work I've done over the last 3 decades, digital music, my music library, it's taken years to do this. I am lucky that a structure still exists, that I can further that and dig deeper into that and make more income from that. So back to that initial theme is the more that you can create diversity of income, the more that you can create independence, not relying on a radio station, not relying on other musicians, not relying on a band, not relying on weddings. In other words, diversify. Have your residual music income from multiple sources, the better you're gonna be. So the more that you can create your own content, like if you require somebody else to create your content, there's an issue right there. I can go in and I play guitar, violin, viola. I work with Karen, my partner, so that between the two of us, we can create soundtracks, like by overdubbing. Like learn, okay, here we go. Here's another tip. Learn a digital audio workstation. Get down, learn how to use Reaper. Reaper is free. It is the most powerful. It's just like Pro Tools. It's a free digital workstation. I've got a friend, Charles, who's learning how to do this, learning how to record his own music, how to make his own soundtracks. A lot of this stuff is free. All of your training can be free. YouTube videos, digital audio workstation. So anyway, the more independent you can be, the greater off you'll be. But you got to follow the money. Ask yourself, where's the money? What are people paying for right now in the music field, in the creative field? And go there. If you are not a musician, you can take, there's a thing called the free coding camp. You can learn how to code for free. This is something I considered when I was depressed and didn't think that I was going to make enough as a musician ever. So was considering the coding. The computer world is not going away unless electricity goes away. So you could retrain yourself to be a computer coder. All these things are available right now. I wish you the best in your pivoting. And again, simplify your life. Get into your finances. Get into your bank account. Look at everything you're spending money on and question everything. Did I really need to spend that? Did I really, go through it with a fine-tooth comb, make a spreadsheet, get rid of all your auto payments. This is something I'm doing. Get down to the raw basics, just the basics of life, and free up your time to learn a new skill or build your tribe and really think about what kind of value you can provide. Don't just jump into it building and think people are going to come. You've got to think about creating a community and value that can be communicated and built over an online platform. Okay, that's the thing. Any questions? This is a long video, I apologize, but I want to be real thorough. And I just want to report what is working. And again, how grateful I am that I've had almost 2 decades of kind of setting up without knowing about it for this period. Hey, Cheryl, how's it going? Just not really being dependent on anything. I haven't had any dependence on playing in clubs. I used to play in the Austin Lyric Opera. That was my biggest regular gig. I retired from that. What was it, 3 years ago? So all my gigs have been self-perpetuated for the most part since 2016, actually. So I created Strings in the Woods. That went away. And now everything I do is either online concerts or online music or music licensing. We are thinking about doing safe concerts in the yard with for private homes. Yeah. Yes, this will be made available. You can watch it. So imagine people sit on their front yard, on their porch, and then you set up, 10, 15 feet away and do a house concert like that, and you charge a premium for that. So yeah, I just got on. Will this be made available by tape? By tape? What do you mean? Yes, video. So what I'm saying is, I'm telling you what's working for me and what is, I'm actually quite overwhelmed right now by all the things that are working. There's barely enough time for me to get to everything. And I am getting to the point where I need to possibly hire some help just to keep up with it all because there's so much to do. Between music licensing, online concerts, getting ready for those concerts, doing the social media to keep people engaged to come to the concerts, composing the emails in a very specific way, which I'll have in my streaming guide, by the way. What am I leaving out? Writing new music. Like, I've just gotten back to writing new music because now people come to our show every week. So that's cool. I had a meditation group that I've kind of let that go. I'm doing Wim Hof method in the morning. And that's just, all this is tribe building, trying to create value, sharing my life with other people online and bringing people together. I have a DJ thing I'm doing, and all this is to build the community and get people on the list so I can communicate them through email, invite them to it's just a big sort of system that feeds on itself. It's an ecosystem of community. It's an ecosystem of providing value. And one of the exciting things about doing this is that now that I don't have to, people aren't driving, they don't have to get in a car to come to my shows. So my audience went from I used Facebook ads to promote a lot just in Austin. Well, now I'm promoting to the entire world. So I have a small audience I'm building in Europe, and I have an audience I'm building in North America. And now today I was thinking of separating. I need to actually be able to tag those two audiences because the people in Europe need to be emailed at a specific time. So, and we do a show at 1 o'clock, so it's 8 o'clock their time. So, what am I saying? Yes. So now, it's people just show up to a screen, and I'm marketing for people showing up to a screen. They don't have to pay money to get in the car. They don't have to park. So our audience has gone from potentially 5,000 or 6,000 people in Austin to potentially, who knows, 1 million people world potentially. So that's what I'm spending all my time is trying. How do we find those 1 million people minimally that will just love what we do, and I don't have to convince them. Once they come into the community, they're like, this makes sense. You are our, and we want to have to offer. So part of that is that I'm bringing on more music to my digital outlets because there's not a lot there. I mean, I have maybe 10 albums on there, and it's a lot of it's old music. So as these people are coming on board, music for them to burn through, to listen, to absorb, to build relationships. So I'm spending going through some old music I haven't released, and what stories am I going to tell? So it's really exciting to think, okay, I'm spending